There are some betrayals that don't end the day the person walks away. They don't close neatly. They don't fade with time. They stay, quietly, in the background of your life, like something unfinished. Not because you still love the person, but because you remember who you were when they left, and how much it cost you to become someone else. Stronger, colder, careful. So when someone like that comes back, you don't feel excitement. You don't feel closure. You feel something else. Awareness. Because you already know, this isn't about them changing. It's about what they want. So before we go any further, like this video, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. What would you do if the person who abandoned you came back into your life when you no longer needed them? Because I thought I knew my answer. Until Bryant came back. And this time, he didn't come back as the man I depended on. He came back as the man working under me. The day HR told me his name, I didn't react. Not outwardly. I simply looked at the file. Bryant Cole. Like it hadn't been years. Like that name hadn't once meant everything, and then nothing. Do you know him? My assistant asked carefully. I closed the file. Yes. That was all I said. Because there was nothing else to explain. Not in that moment. Not to anyone. But inside, something had already shifted. Not emotionally. Not painfully. Just precisely. Because the version of me that Bryant knew didn't exist anymore. The first time I saw him again was in the hallway. He looked older. Not dramatically. Just worn. Like life hadn't gone the way he expected. But his posture was still the same. Confident. Measured. Careful. When his eyes met mine, he froze. Just for a second. And in that second, I saw it. Recognition. Shock. And then, calculation. Ashley. My name sounded strange coming from him. Like it belonged to another life. I nodded once. Professional. Neutral. Bryant. No warmth. No history. Just acknowledgement. And then I kept walking. Because I had already decided something before he even spoke. He didn't get access. Not to me. Not to my life. Not to anything I had built without him. The first week, he stayed quiet. Too quiet. He did his work. Spoke when necessary. Avoided unnecessary contact. If anyone else had behaved like that, I would have respected it. But Bryant had never been quiet. He had always been intentional. And silence, from someone like him, was never empty. It was strategy. So I watched. I didn't confront him. Didn't react to him. Didn't acknowledge anything beyond work. Because I had learned something the hard way. The most dangerous version of someone is the one who is waiting. And Bryant was waiting. The first move came on a Friday evening. I was leaving later than usual. The office had already started to empty out. Lights dimmer. Hallways quieter. The kind of quiet that makes you notice things you normally wouldn't. Like him. Standing near the exit. Not blocking the door. Not doing anything obvious. Just there. Waiting. I slowed slightly. Not enough to show hesitation. Just enough to observe. He straightened when he saw me. Like he had been expecting this exact moment. Ashley, I didn't stop. If this is work-related, you can send an email. It's not. Of course it wasn't. I reached the door. Paused just long enough to look at him. Then said calmly, then it's not necessary. And walked out. That should have been the end of it. For most people, that would have been clear. But Bryant had never been most people. The next morning, there was coffee on my desk. My exact order. Down to the smallest detail. I stared at it for a moment. Not surprised. Just confirming. Then I pressed the intercom. Please remove this. My assistant stepped in. Are you sure? It's fresh. I didn't ask. She nodded quickly and took it away. And that should have been enough. But it wasn't. Because Bryant didn't see rejection the way normal people did. He saw it as resistance. And resistance was something he had always enjoyed breaking. By the end of that week, it was flowers. Not simple ones. Expensive. Carefully arranged. The kind of flowers that weren't just meant to be appreciated, but noticed. I didn't take them inside. I didn't even touch them. I told security to leave them at the gate. By the second day, they started to wilt. By the third, they were gone. No acknowledgement. No reaction. Nothing. Because silence was the only language he didn't know how to manipulate. But Bryant adapted. He always did. The next time, it wasn't flowers. It was a package. No sender name. But I didn't need one. Inside was a velvet box. A necklace. Elegant. Minimal. Expensive. The kind of gift a man gives when he's trying to remind you of what he once meant. I didn't try it on. Didn't hold it up to the light. Didn't hesitate. I closed the box and sent it back, unopened, because I wasn't that woman anymore, and I wasn't going to pretend I was. 2 weeks later, he came to my house, uninvited, unannounced. I saw the car before he stepped out, and something inside me didn't react. It settled, because I had expected this. I stepped outside before he could knock, closing the door firmly behind me. This is not your place to be. He looked at me like he had rehearsed the moment, like he had practiced the exact expression he was wearing. Soft, careful, almost convincing. I just want to talk. You've had opportunities. That's different. No, I said. You just think it is. He glanced past me, toward the house, toward the life he had no part in. Is she inside? My voice didn't rise. She has a name. I know, You don't get to ask about her. There it was. That small shift. That crack in the version of himself he was presenting. Because for a second, he didn't look sorry. He looked curious, like he was trying to understand something, like he was measuring what he could still reach. And that told me everything. You need to leave. Ashley, don't come here again. I held his gaze, and for the first time, he hesitated. Not because he respected my boundary, but because he was recalculating. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about closure. This was about strategy. From that moment on, he changed tactics. No more obvious gestures. No more direct attempts. Instead, he became present. Everywhere. The grocery store. The cafe I visited every Sunday morning. Even places near Lily's school. Always coincidental. Always polite. Always careful. But never accidental. He wanted to become familiar again. To feel normal. To make himself part of my life without asking. But every time I saw him, I remembered something he couldn't erase. The hospital room. The silence. The empty chair beside me. The weight of holding my daughter alone. And that memory was stronger than anything he could recreate. Then one evening, he crossed a line. A real one. Lily had a school performance. It wasn't big, just something small, but it mattered to her. And that was enough. I sat in the audience, watching her on stage, trying not to smile too much so I wouldn't make her nervous. And for a moment, everything felt normal, peaceful, until I saw him, 3 rows behind us, watching, not me, her, and something inside me went still, not loud, not emotional, just sharp. After the performance, he approached, like he belonged there. She was amazing. Lily looked up at me. Mom, who is that? I didn't hesitate. No one. That word landed harder than anything else. I stepped slightly in front of her, creating distance. You don't show up here again. I just wanted to see her. You don't get to want things you gave up. His jaw tightened. You're keeping her from me. No, I said calmly. You removed yourself. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Final. I took Lily's hand, and we walked away. That night, the legal papers arrived. The envelope sat on the table longer than it should have. I didn't rush to open it. Didn't panic. Didn't even feel surprised. Because somewhere deep down, I had been expecting it. Men like Bryant don't accept rejection. They escalate. When I finally opened it, I read every word slowly, carefully. Custody request, visitation rights, statements about wanting to be present, language designed to sound responsible, measured, thoughtful, convincing. But underneath it, I could see the real intention. Control. This wasn't about being a father. It was about creating a legal reason to be in my life again. A doorway he couldn't be denied. And years ago, that would have terrified me. Back then, I didn't have resources. I didn't have power. I didn't have protection. But now, I had all 3. I folded the papers neatly, placed them back in the envelope. And for the first time since they arrived, I allowed myself to breathe. Not out of fear, but out of clarity. Because this wasn't emotional anymore. This was strategic. The next morning, I made one call, then another. And within days, everything was in motion. My lawyer didn't ask unnecessary questions. She didn't need to. Because women like me don't walk into rooms like that unprepared. And men like Bryant rely on that. The hearing came faster than I expected. And when I walked into that courtroom, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel vulnerable. I didn't feel like the woman he had left behind. I felt like the woman I had built. Bryant was already there, seated, composed, confident, like he believed he had a chance. And for a brief moment, I wondered if he actually believed his own story. If somewhere in his mind, he had rewritten everything, made himself the man who just needed time. The man who came back. The man who wanted to do better. But then I looked at him closer, and I saw it. That same quiet calculation. The same man who had walked away when things became inconvenient. And I remembered exactly who I was dealing with. When it was my turn to speak, I didn't raise my voice, didn't try to perform, didn't try to convince anyone of anything. I simply told the truth. Where he was when I was pregnant, where he was when Lily was born, where he was during the nights I stayed awake, alone, trying to figure out how to survive. And more importantly, where he wasn't. No exaggeration, no drama, just facts. Because facts don't need emotion to be powerful. I didn't look at him when I finished. I didn't need to. I already knew what the outcome would be. And when it came, it was exactly what I expected. No immediate custody, no forced visitation, no sudden rights to a life he had abandoned. Denied. Cleanly. Completely. And for the first time since he came back, I saw something shift in his face. Not anger. Not frustration. Something quieter. Something more dangerous. Resentment. And that's when I knew this still wasn't over. Because men like Bryant don't walk away when they lose. They adapt. The next few weeks were quiet. Too quiet. He stopped showing up at my house. Stopped appearing near Lily's school. Stopped sending gifts. At work, he became distant. Professional. Focused. Like nothing had happened. Like he had accepted the outcome. If someone didn't know better, they might have believed it. But I knew better. Because silence was never his ending. It was preparation. And I didn't have to wait long to find out for what. It started with something small. A conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. Two managers speaking quietly near the conference room. Bryant said the investors are interested. He has connections we didn't know about. It could expand the company faster. I didn't interrupt. Didn't react. I simply kept walking. But something settled in my mind. Later that afternoon, I asked for a report. Every proposal tied to Bryant. Every external contact. Every recommendation he had made since he joined. And when it landed on my desk, everything became clear. He hadn't stopped. He had shifted. While I was dealing with the legal situation, he had been building something else. Influence. Quietly. Carefully. Positioning himself as valuable. As necessary. As someone people could depend on. It was subtle, but it was intentional. And if I hadn't noticed, if I had let it continue, he would have reached a point where removing him wouldn't be simple anymore. And that was his plan. Not to force his way back into my life emotionally, but to make himself impossible to remove professionally. I leaned back in my chair that evening, and for the first time in weeks, I smiled. Because now, I understood everything. And once you understand someone's strategy, they lose their advantage. I didn't confront him, didn't expose him. I let him continue. Because sometimes, the best way to stop someone is to let them go far enough that they can't recover. Days passed, then weeks, and he grew more confident, more involved, more trusted. Exactly what I wanted. Because the higher he climbed, the harder he would fall. But Bryant made a mistake. A big one. He started believing his position. He stopped being careful. And that's when I saw my opening. It happened during a meeting. He was presenting a proposal. Confident. Smooth. Convincing. The room was listening. Nods. Agreement. Interest. Everything was going his way. Until I spoke. Where did this data come from? He didn't hesitate. From one of the external partners I mentioned. Which partner? A pause. Small, but enough. Because I already knew the answer. Because according to our records, I said calmly, sliding a document forward, that partner isn't part of our approved network. Silence. The room shifted. Subtle, but noticeable. Bryant smiled slightly. Recovering. It's a new connection. I was planning to introduce. You were planning to bypass protocol. That landed. And this time, he didn't respond immediately. Because there was no clean way out. And for the first time, the room saw it. The inconsistency. The risk. The gap. I didn't push further. I didn't need to. Because doubt, once introduced, does the rest of the work. After the meeting, he came to my office. Closed the door behind him. And for the first time in weeks, there was no performance. You're trying to undermine me. I looked up calmly. No. I'm protecting my company. You've been watching me. Yes. That hit him. Because now, there was no illusion left. You think you're better than me now? He asked quietly. I held his gaze. I know I am. Silence. Heavy. Real. He stepped closer. You wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for me. And there it was. The belief he had always carried. That I was something he had created. Something he could take credit for. Something he could take back. I stood slowly and stepped into his space. Close enough for him to understand. This wasn't the same woman anymore. You didn't build me, I said quietly. You left me. That landed. Because it wasn't emotional. It was factual. And facts can't be manipulated. He didn't respond. He couldn't. So he stepped back, turned, and walked out. But I knew that still wasn't the end. Because men like Bryant always have one last move. And I was waiting for it. For a few days after that conversation, was that But what mattered most was how he treated Lily. The first time they met, he didn't try to win her over, didn't force anything, didn't overstep. He just showed up, patient, kind, present, the kind of presence that doesn't demand trust, but earns it, slowly. And that was something I had never experienced before. Because this time, there were no games, no manipulation, no strategy, just consistency. And over time, that consistency became something else. Something steady, something real. One evening, we were sitting outside, Lily laughing about something small, something simple, and I found myself watching them, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with something I hadn't felt in years. Peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't come from winning, but from no longer fighting. And that's when it became clear. Bryant had never been my future. He had been my lesson, a hard one, a painful one, but a necessary one, because without it, I wouldn't have known the difference between attention and care, between control and love, between presence and consistency. If you've made it this far, this part matters, because a lot of people think closure comes from the other person, from their apology, from their return, from their regret. But it doesn't. Closure comes from you, from the moment you decide that what they did no longer defines you, that what they lost is no longer your responsibility, that what you built is yours, and yours alone. So go ahead, like this video, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it, because someone out there is still waiting for closure from someone who will never give it, and they need to hear this. As for me, I didn't just move on, I moved forward, completely, without hesitation, without doubt, without looking back. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't surviving anymore. I was living, and that made all the difference.